Let's go over the top global brands by Kantar in 2022 and 2023. Of course, we're gonna focus not on the 100, but in the top 100 and then top 10. And you will see why. But the top 10, of course, we have Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, then Alibaba, Facebook, main companies, McDonald's, and you will be surprised why McDonald's is here. But this is no surprise. The surprise is one key information. Just this year alone, the growth on the top 100 brands has been at 23%. The second highest year-on-year growth up to history. In 2020, last year was at 42%. So we're talking about big numbers. But how much is that? Actually, 8.7 trillion in total value, just the growth of the top 100 companies in the world. If you don't know how much is that, just for considerations and for comparity, it is a total of 9% of the total GDP of the entire world. We're talking about magnitudes of money and power uncomparable and unthinkable to any one of us. So we are seeing that brands are growing, and they're growing so fast and so much. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but I actually want to dig into these companies a bit more before we actually jump into. We're seeing big gaps in the world, especially in companies and in those super big international multinational companies, which is absurd. The gap, the threshold to actually get an entry on the list has risen up to 406% since 2006. So the economies of scale are more of a scale than ever. They're growing an insane amount in a pace that is uncomparable. And it's actually incredible and frightening at the same time. We need to be worried because those are big numbers, and we don't know how much this big bubble of growth can actually keep really going. But that's not the topic of today. We're seeing growth, which is what matters and which is what is connected to our topic of the Super Bowl and the big quantities of money. So you are actually seeing that investing in the Super Bowl is not that much if we actually see the reality of the actual market. Let's go through newcomers because I really found them interesting. So of course, Kantar reflects and summarizes the big companies, the top 10, but there are actually what they call newcomers for those companies that wasn't there and has recently so much and so fast that they should be looked into. Number one, with $99,327 million, it's a company called Aramco. Aramco has been the number one newcomers in these categories. And if you want to know more about Aramco, this is why they've risen so much. It's a company founded in Arabia Saudi, which its main source of income and business is petroleum, collection, gathering and selling. In 2023, where prices with Ukraine, Russia, and fuel and energy in general has been so problematic, this company has taken the lead immediately. This doesn't mean that this company will keep growing. Petroleum is a limited source and is shorter than most of them. But it's really a thing to look for because these companies could be remodeled and reoriented in the future with no problem. And then the second one, this is way more smaller in comparison with Aramco, is Infosys. And this is technology and information, but on India. And I'm not surprised. India has been, for history, one of the biggest calling centers in the world. They have great IT guys. Their engineers are exceptional. Most of the hacks and problems that people have online come from India, from viruses, from America, because their engineers are outstanding. So they now are starting to get those talents and making them and putting them in a company. And this is why they've risen so much. So we've seen newcomers. I actually want to talk about one key recent sector, and with it comes many companies paired to it. There's one sector of all of them, of course, technology, media, entertainment. Those are the biggest ones that are established, hasn't really experienced and suffered a lot of growth. neither the growth. But there's one sector that is overall the biggest one, which is jewelry. Jewelry and luxury in general has risen to the roof. In just top 10 risers, we have Cartier, first one, with an 18.8% growth. That's outrageous. Even before Google this year has increased and grown at 79%. Cartier has grown over that. Of course, volumes are different, but Cartier is outstanding. Louis Vuitton, Hermès Paris, Tesla, which is actually on car industry, but on the luxurious side. In general, luxury, and the French companies that are in that sector has risen a lot. I don't have the reason for that, but I think since we've come out of COVID, that life are starting to get back to normal, luxury is something that people go again and look for to put on when going back into the normal life in streets. So really interesting news and actually something to actually look for. And then we have actually covered the main slide of things I wanted to talk about: newcomers, main industry. So overall, the market is growing. That's a reality we cannot face, we cannot hide from. Now we need to see why is actually that. What's the reason behind this continuous growth happening and keep going and going and going. So Kantar does not only summarize economical and growth rates, they actually go and explain you why this is like that. So they have a lot of information, but they actually explain us why. And this is really important for any of us marketeers out there. And this is a topic I want to cover as well today. If you are someone working in marketing, sales, business in general, and you look to these kind of reports and analysis of research, and you ignore them, you're actually foolish. You're lying to yourself and to your future. If there is something that we need to understand in this upcoming world, is that data is more valuable than ever. Telecommunications, data analysis, and data scientists in general are rising, and many positions are open to that. So we need to be able not only to produce that information, but to read it, to actually use that in our field of expertise. Of course, the amount of money that Apple is making, the percentage of growth that Apple is doing, does nothing to me. But understanding the causes behind those numbers is what actually is gonna serve me as a marketing guy, as a sales guy, in my business, in anything of my life. Because I'm not gonna be able to use 100% of that knowledge, but by using only 1% of it, and you and I will be able to progress faster than the competitors. And that's what matters. Now, Kantar is outstanding. I'm a fan of their work, and especially brand set, because branding in general and companies are wonderful. The guide on this report comes from 5.4 billion data points. 4.1 million consumer interviews. Amazing. 19,250 different brands compared and analyzed 522 categories and 51 markets. Overall, the scale and the magnitude of this report is astonishing. And that's why it took almost a year to go through all of that. The amount of people working in this, it's unbelievably high. And that's why it's so valuable to look for these kind of reports. So now that we know that, how did Kantar and what are we actually looking at this report and brands in general? What are the attributes that make them different and that allow them to be where they are up today? There's 3 key elements for brands to accomplish or to follow if they want to be successful in the long run: meaningfulness, difference, and salience. And these 3 different attributes are key, not only for them especially, but for us, because we are actually able to use some of those techniques into our world. So what does this mean? Meaningfulness, of course, your value, your product, your service need to be meaningful. For who? For the customer. if there is no solution proven, it's not going to go anywhere. And meaningfulness, I would actually expand it in two attributes. Easiness of use, okay, and then utility. Meaningfulness, I would say, is the addition of easy to use and utility. Most of the time, this never happens. A product is easy to use, it doesn't really have any purpose, and it's not useful for you at all. Or the utility is so high that it's super hard to use. That's what actually happens. If you actually manage to have both easy to use and high utility, the third element that comes in is price and cost, and it would be so expensive that you will never be able to produce it or to buy it. So that's a role where you play with meaningfulness. Difference, once you have that product, products are no night and day on differences. Differences are so subtle that most customers won't even be able to understand and notice them. So what you need to be is to be different in your communications, in your campaigns, in your logistics. There are so many elements that you need to be different for. Which one is it the right one? As we always say, there is no right or wrong. You need to try, you need to analyze the competitors. And if you are a telecommunication company, you need to see what are the big ones doing. If you are a pharmaceutical one, what are the big ones doing? You need to actually look for others' work to actually implement it and change yours and utilize it in a way. Then salience. Salience is a combination of several hidden factors that Kantar has, but overall salience is just that missing element of greatness that companies has. Connection with consumers, outstanding in one element, and segmenting perfectly the needs, ideas, and consumers. So your product salience on each one of those elements. So yeah, those are three main categories and attributes that I wanted to cover because I think that they are valuable, super valuable. And then they actually put metrics on different other ones, and then they calculate the financial value, the brand contribution, and overall the brand value, which is what they saw and what we've been talking about. So we said it just on 2021, and from 2021 to 2023, the growth of companies was 42%. This previous year, it's been at 23%, second greatest annual rise, 2 years consecutive. Top brands are thriving as never before. This is they're doing something amazing. We need to be aware, because everything is not infinite. There will be a moment of cap potential, and when that comes, we need to be aware and ready to utilize what is left, so we, in our companies and in our life, can succeed. Okay. That's been long and super intense talk. I like to drink in as we go. So we know brands. There's one more study. This one I'm gonna do it super casual with you, which is different financial value of companies in 2023. This is updated, okay? I don't have access to the whole spreadsheet of information because it's limited under subscription, but we can actually see the top ones globally. Okay, we said Apple was top one. As of today, Apple is top two, right below Google, and the difference is 2 trillion between the numbers in America and Europe. They are different. So Amazon number one, Apple second, Google third, Microsoft fourth, Walmart is fifth one on the 2023 financial position. This refers to the brand value and other sectors. Information can be looked for. But what we clearly see is the big three, Apple, Google, and Amazon being there, Microsoft getting closer and closer. And then things are condensed on technology. So if you are looking for a place to go, go to technology. But we clearly see that year after year, the growth of those companies is not only established, but keep going up, which is absurd. And that's one of the main reasons people keep investing and putting